You feel me?
I've seen videos of ants doing insane things to survive, like in this one where they built a boat out of their bodies to survive a flood, or in this one where they built a dangling bridge out of their bodies to attack a wasp nest. So I was wondering, if I put my 1,000 ants into obstacle courses, will they do similar things to complete them, or are my ants just not that smart? Well, I just spent hours gathering 1,000 ants out my old ant nest, so I feel like this is the perfect opportunity to put these guys up against their first ant obstacle. Obstacle number one is this.
Basically, what we do
is put some massive dead insect food at the bottom, and then we fill it with a bunch of sand to turn it into one of those 2D ant nests. Basically, we'll be able to watch the ants dig out all sorts of tunnel systems in here, and if they actually find the insect food I hit at the bottom, then they'll pass the obstacle and move on to the next obstacles that get harder and harder as the video goes on. All right, let's not waste any time, and well, let's just do this. Wow.
Chat, shouldn't they get a little bit of food as upkeep?
All in here
to survive the dig?
Of course, immediately the ants all just start to try and climb the walls of the top area to try and escape. But surprisingly, many of the ants are already starting to dig down that center 2D part of the nest. Oh my gosh, this is happening so fast. Wait, is there already progress on the side of the tank? Oh, I just put these guys in literally like 45 seconds ago, and they've already dug like half an inch down in. What? Yep, and if you check out this time-lapse footage, you can see just how quickly they were getting work done. They literally work like mini drills. They carry the boulders out tiny tunnels through the sand. But in reality, it's a tiring and grueling process where each individual grain of sand has to be picked up from a worker underground, brought all the way up to the surface through this hole, and then dropped off at this pile of sand over here. Now, while I was recording this, it was actually getting pretty late in the day, so I decided to turn off the lights and came back.
No, exactly. If you pause frame and you focus on a few ends at the top, some of these guys are doing fucking nothing, and they know it. Some of these guys are slacking and they know it.
To see the progress made. And guys, the next day I came back to the ant nest looking like this. Yeah. Bro, what? It's been literally like 8 hours.
They're working shifts?
How did these ants build an entire intricate nest? And not only were all these intricate tunnel systems made, but remember those dead insects I placed at the bottom as food? Well, it's safe to say that ants found those too, and it looks like the whole colony had swarmed them and had already started to devour them. And since they got to the insects, that technically means they passed this first obstacle. Congratulations, guys. It happened so fast, I literally didn't even capture that on camera. Oh, but this next obstacle, the ants are going up.
Guys, who makes decisions? Who goes at the end of the tunnel and says, guys, what, we're not gonna find anything here. Go back. Like, who goes here and says, nah, everybody back out. Like, somebody has to be making the calls.
I literally didn't even capture that on
the hive mind.
But this next obstacle the ants are going up against will definitely be caught on camera, because the next obstacle is the tightrope of doom. Yes, you heard that right. And if you're wondering what that is, well, it's this thing. Yup, the ants will have to walk across this extremely narrow tightrope over a pit filled with fire and flames. Oh, I gotta put that out. Oh, yep, put that out. Are you gonna go out? No, I'm just kidding. That would be crazy. These are literally my pets.
Okay, Ross Creations.
But I will be trapping the ants down here if they fall by lining the walls of this pit with this super slippery liquid stuff called fluon. I know you can't really see this stuff since it's invisible, but basically when an ant tries to walk up on here now, it'll just slip off completely. Yeah, this stuff is super slippery. And you guys are about to see why this challenge gets so interesting in a second. But if you look over at the 2D ant nest,
they can still climb it for sure.
I have a little hole here plugged up with some paper towels, and if you also like here, I got some tubing.
We'll see, and
I can connect this to the obstacle. So yeah, let's just get this obstacle started. Come on, ants, let's get in here. Immediately after plugging in the tubing, obviously ants noticed and started walking in. I mean, there's 1,000 ants. You can't even get away from them for a second. So that's what makes these obstacles fun, because it only took like 10 seconds till our first
they just chucked down the fucking plastic tube.
Now, to pass this obstacle, the ants quite literally just need to get one of these pieces of insect legs back across the tightrope, which I think might be impossible, but let's see how they do. Now, I'm not gonna lie, the ants started off with some pretty lackluster performance, because our first ants that made it to this tightrope didn't actually walk onto it. They kind of just walked around it on the corner of this platform, where they just ended up just slipping off. Yeah, come on, guys. What are you doing? But we got 1,000 ants, so I was expecting at least one of these ants to eventually step onto this tightrope. But as tons more ants started to walk into this room, yeah, they kind of all just did the same exact thing. And the pit started to get absolutely filled up with tons of ants. Come on, ants, what are you doing? No, I'm just kidding. I think
come on, game.
To make them walk across the tightrope,
I hate bugs as well.
Something. Let me show you how to fix it. Basically, what I did was first of all tape 2 extra pieces of string to the tightrope to make it a bit thicker so the ants would feel safer when they walked on it. And also, I rubbed this insect jelly food on the tightrope to make the bridge smell like jelly. And yeah, hopefully this will make them want to walk on it. Now, this worked exactly how I wanted it to, because within the first minute, our first workers actually started to walk onto the tightrope.
Are they just gonna eat the rope?
Explored it, just very slowly. But over time, more and more ants started to walk onto it, and it was actually kind of funny because sometimes the ants would literally just be hanging from each other's legs because there would just be way too many on the tightrope at the same time.
No!
Dang, these ants aren't very good at saving their friends. But it didn't take long for our first brave ant to actually make it to the end of this tightrope. That wasn't even half of the challenge, because now, if you remember, the ants
actually had to tell the boys
one of these insect legs and bring them back across the tightrope. And this ant clearly wasn't looking too interested in that, because yeah, he was just completely ignoring them. So I kept waiting until some more ants made it to the side by crossing the tightrope. And surprisingly, one of the ants that made it actually did seem interested in the legs, because he went up to one of them and actually started to bite it. But if you couldn't tell, this leg is kind of way too big for this worker to carry it all by himself. And for some reason, even after tons of ants made it onto this side,
guys, it's got massive pincers
to help this poor worker move the leg. But this worker had a mission. He knew he needed to take a leg back to the colony, so what he did was he went up to one of the smaller insect legs that he could actually carry by himself, and he actually picked it up.
Dude, are you seeing this?
Yep, yeah, it wasn't super efficient or anything, but theoretically he could pass this obstacle for the entire colony if he played his cards right. And played his cards right, he did, because I'm not joking, he walked straight over to the tightrope.
Oh no, he's done,
Jack. An extremely close call where he almost fell off, but somehow he managed to save himself, and then the ant actually started to
wait, dude.
Close call
Chat,
where he almost.
How many times his weight do you think this branches? This guy, he did a full muscle up.
Fell
from
off, but
down
somehow he managed to save himself, and then the ant actually started to walk across the tightrope with an insect leg in his mouth.
Oh my gosh, guys. This is genuinely so insane. I am rooting for you, bro. I mean, you got a long way to go. But guys, the ants were doing so awful up to this point. You could see how many fell into the pit of doom. Bro,
it's like a muscle up holding a Volkswagen, exactly.
Yep, literally none of the 1,000 ants decided to help this dude. He was doing this entirely solo. And so he kept on.
Yeah, but he's gonna be the challenge when he comes home, though.
Any ants that were in his way. And this dude made it all the way to the end of the tightrope, where he then walked onto the platform to complete the obstacle. Oh my gosh, this ant is insane. Seriously, I gotta name this guy. I think I'm gonna name him Anthony. And we're probably never gonna be able to find Anthony again since all the ants look the same. But seriously, everyone spam some W's in the comments for Anthony. That was so insane.
Let him have the prize, though.
The obstacle, I'm gonna give him the insect's legs as a prize. Thanks,
How is he
Anthony.
gonna flex?
Hopefully, you guys enjoy.
So I quickly moved all the fallen soldiers back to the 2D ant nest. And well, this colony is now ready for its third obstacle. And oh boy, am I excited for this one.
Guys,
guys, I want to see if there was a possible attempt at a social behavior of standing on the branch or on the leg and trying to
we're gonna have to break into a vault. Yeah, like a robbery, basically.
Yep.
Maybe to see if anybody was gonna catch on or tell the news.
I literally built up a DIY bank vault from scratch out of paper that I knew the ants would probably be able to break into. You can see
they don't get a reward.
It sort of looks like a real vault. And anyways, it's cool because the door actually opens, so I could fill this bank vault with an absolutely insane amount of seeds. Yeah, I put so many seeds in here.
Because yeah,
they would probably ate him.
Are this species of ants' favorite food, so they should absolutely swarm this thing. But I got this hot glue gun.
It's like in Bug's Life.
This vault door shut because I got to make this actually a kind of hard obstacle. So let me just go and put some glue on here.
Well, the boys have wings.
Like all right, the vault is completely sealed shut with glue now.
Flying ants?
Let's see if these ants can actually get the seeds out of it. This is going to be a very interesting to watch.
So yeah, I just put it in, and as you can imagine, the 1,000 ant colony immediately started to climb onto it. Especially when things are put into colonies' nests, they need to investigate it to make sure it's not a threat. And with this, I think they pretty much immediately knew it wasn't a threat, because none of them were biting it or anything. And actually, a lot of them were just using it as an opportunity to climb out of the enclosure. That's not good. But yeah, the vault right now is pretty sealed shut, and I don't even think the ants knew that there were seeds inside of here. So nothing really eventful happened, to be honest.
Okay, this is not exactly going to plan. I'm just gonna take this box and put it in there. Oh, hopefully I didn't crush any ants.
Hey!
Okay, and then let me scoop up all the ants that fell off.
So yeah, I got all those fallen soldiers back into the nest, of course.
Well, that didn't exactly work so well, but I kind of knew it wasn't going to work so well, so that's why I came equipped with this stuff. See, basically, it's a cup of water and a big cup of sugar, which I'm going to pour into the water. Then basically, I can mix
making the door
and sugar around to make
an ingredient they don't like it.
I love the smell and taste of. And using this paintbrush, I actually just want to go and paint our vault with it. And basically, this will make the vault not only taste like sugar, but it will also just make it kind of soggy since it's made out of paper, and it should make it able so the ants can chew through it and stuff and get to the seeds.
So yeah, I absolutely just soaked this vault in the sugar water, and without wasting any time, I got this thing in the nest. All right, ants, let's see how you do this time. And oh boy, were things a lot more interesting this time around, because right away, tons more ants were way more interested. You can see how after the ants would walk onto the vault, they would just completely stand still. That's because they were putting their mouth up to the paper and were just completely licking all the sugar off the paper. Yeah, so not really what I had in mind. I thought this was gonna make them want to completely chew through the paper.
But what if somebody
lick it? But yeah, so many ants got their fair share of the sugar. However, I didn't see a single ant even trying to find or even acknowledge that there were seeds inside of here. Well, that was until this moment. When you see this hole here, well, just out of nowhere, an ant just came up to it and walked into the hole. And yeah, there was just an ant inside of this vault with the absolute jackpot of seeds. I don't know how this hole got here. I guess maybe the sogginess from the sugar water made it droop or something.
Tell the boys.
Wow. That is crazy.
And take the prize away.
I think the ants just completed the obstacle. Let me get all the excess ants off this safe real quick.
And yeah, once the extra ants had fallen off, I cut open the vault to see if that ant had actually made it inside. And as you can see, he absolutely had made it inside. Oh my gosh, bro. Your colony has no
Let him eat it a little bit.
How much you just clutched up for them.
Wait, imagine if this is Anthony, that same ant that beat the obstacle course.
Yo, he keeps not letting them get the reward though.
But anyways, W ant.
So yeah, I just went and poured the entire vault's loot pile onto the 2D ant nest, and well, the ants have been rewarded with the absolute motherload of food up to this point.
So about conditioning, can you condition the ants?
The craziest obstacle for last to really find out how smart my ant colony actually is. And this final one is the floor is lava.
Yup, the floor is lava, and thankfully I already have it built right here.
This is the final obstacle, and you may be wondering, bruh, Darraggreen, where's the lava? Well, the lava is these strips of red on the floor right here. You see, these are actually extremely sticky pieces of tape, and if the ants try to walk on them, well, they're gonna get stuck, of course. So if the ants want to get to the strawberries that I put at the end of the obstacle, they're gonna have to use one of the 3 tools I provided for them to figure out how they can maybe cross this lava, or maybe they'll make a crazy bridge out of their bodies to cross it. Who knows?
Anyways, I wanted to make sure most of these guys actually participated, so I spent the past few hours individually picking up each of the ants from the ant nest and transporting them into this container, or at least as many as I can get. The rest are kind of under there. That way, they can be easily transported. But before pouring these guys in, I just want to tell you guys that the Darraggreen merch is actually really
What are we buying some of that?
If you can't tell, I actually changed the design of the obstacle.
I mean, died. A lot of them died in this video for sure.
Tape, well, I actually replaced it with an even stickier and thicker kind of tape to make sure these ants wouldn't be able to just walk across. Anyways, let's see how they do. As you could probably guess,
they're gonna go to the side.
Ants immediately went up to the tape and partially got stuck in the front. But don't worry, guys. I'll be watching the ants throughout this obstacle, and any of the ants that looks like they get super stuck in the middle, I'll be picking up with these tweezers and moving back to the start so they don't get stuck in here permanently and hurts. Anyways, to actually cross this tape, like I said earlier, I gave these ants different tools, like a pile of dirt, some pieces of string, and even some wood chips to see if they'd be smart enough to actually use these things.
What if you pull too hard and its legs stay there? Do they regrow?
While it may look like the ants are not using the tools here, if you look very closely down here near the dirt, they've actually already started to push this pile of dirt onto the tape to make a little bridge that they can walk onto. If they keep building up this bridge, they would actually be able to cross this with no problem whatsoever. But right when I was filming this, I actually noticed that an ant had actually been walking across the tape and somehow had made it extremely close to the end. Yeah, I have no clue how this ant just managed to ignore the stickiness of this tape. I guess his legs were just extremely strong or something, because he got all the way to the end where he had a bit of trouble pulling himself off the tape, but eventually he was able to do it.
What about this new tape though?
And wow.
Was that there
this ant
before?
just technically passed the obstacle.
Oh my gosh, bro. I didn't even see this ant, but I mean, he
I'm
did
on
pass
to
the
you.
obstacle. I guess that's fair and square. Good job, bro. Why is it the past 3 obstacles, it's been a single ant that's clutched it up for the entire colony? But anyways, I gotta get all these guys off the tape so they aren't hurt.
He fell down.
So yeah, I got them all picked up into a container and transported them back to their nest safely.
All right, because you guys beat it, I'm gonna give you this piece of the strawberry. And because the ants beat all of the obstacles I gave them, I'm gonna be giving them this brand new ant nest. Basically, it's just a bit more compact and it has a cool outworld on the top. And I think it's just a bit more optimal for them. So I'm gonna go and move them in there. Anyways, hopefully you guys were entertained. And
Chat, what if you made it at least so boring?
I think it's just a bit more
just to see what happens.
So I'm gonna go and move them in there.
Chat, what if you give them a spot like this, right? But you say, okay, you keep feeding them, right? They live, hold on. But it's just boring. Like, there's nothing happens. Nothing's different. Are they going to expand the tunnels, redo them, like, or are they gonna live in stagnation, or they live in the same exact spot forever? Do they care what kind of housing they have? What if you were to have this exact position in 3 years? What is that gonna look like? It would be the same thing, you think?
Anyways, hopefully you guys were entertained and learned something new about ants in this video. Remember guys, the Terra Green merch, you gotta get it soon if you want to get it before Christmas or before the end of the year.
What is Ants Canada? What is Ants Canada? I know you guys keep saying that. What is that? I know what that is.